Okay, we're live on YouTube. Meeting is yours, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'd like to call the regular City Commission meeting of April 6th to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. You could all join me in that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Start with a roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Olsman.
President Huntington Woods.
Commissioner Rozelle.
Present in Huntington Woods.
Commissioner Jenks.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You need to unmute yourself.
Present still in Huntington Woods.
Commissioner Elder.
Present in Huntington Woods.
Mayor Paul, present in Huntington Woods. Next is the approval of the agenda. I actually have a couple of amendments before we get that motion. First one is something that we're going to make a permanent change to the order of our agenda, and that is moving the proclamations up to before public participation. And the second item we're going to change this evening is the deletion of item number 4, which is the item regarding the beekeeping ordinance. This is an item that was added to the agenda by city staff because of several complaints from residents. It's not an issue that any of the commissioners or many residents, for that matter, were aware of before the agenda was posted. We have asked for administration to study beekeeping, other ordinances, the complaints that have been raised, and all pros that beekeeping brings to our environment, and report back to the City Commission for further discussion. All the comments that you have sent to us have been or will be forwarded to City Administration, and any further comments, pro or con, are welcome.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we approve this evening's agenda with the 2 amendments that you've proposed.
Support.
Okay. Roll call vote for those in favor. Mayor Pro Tem Olsman.
Aye.
Commissioner Elder.
Aye.
Commissioner Jenks.
Aye.
Commissioner Rozelle.
Aye.
Mayor Paul, aye. Motion carries. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions from the commission? Okay, roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Olsman.
Aye.
Commissioner Jenks.
Aye.
Commissioner Elder.
Aye.
Commissioner Rozelle.
Aye.
Mayor Paul, aye. Motion carries. Communications. Don't believe we had any communications. So we'll move on to our county commissioner or other elected official remarks. And then I don't think, Charlie is here. Our Oakland County Commissioner, Charlie Cavell. Any updates for us?
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just 2 quick things. I want to say first, congratulations and many thanks to Helene and Robert for the advice and counsel in the transition and taking this job. Big shoes to fill. Hope I'm doing you proud, Helene. And also wanted to then second give a quick COVID update to everyone. So as of April 5th, everyone 16 and up in Oakland County is eligible to sign up for the vaccine. And so to give you kind of the funnel, there have been 5.6 million doses administered statewide in Michigan. Of all of those, 579,000 are doses that have been administered in Oakland County. Then you split off the 5 hospital systems and Kroger and Meyer, and then also OakGov. Of the OakGov system, 215,000 out of that 579,000 doses have originated from your Oakland County government. And this past week, 39,000 doses came to OakGov and were shots in arms. Oakland County is still putting 90% at least of the shots that we receive in arms within 7 days. So if you go on the Michigan COVID dashboard online, you'll see us in green. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at 248-807-4347. I can also share all the information for people who are homebound residents who'd like to sign up for their COVID shot, for people who have questions about nurse on call, for people who have questions about anything related to the other $1 billion of business that Oakland County does with your taxes every year. Would love to talk to you about all that, and I can give the clerk that information to be in touch.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions for the county commissioner? All right. Moving on to our proclamations. We have 4 proclamations to make this evening, so I decided to pass them around to our commissioners and gave each one of them one. So we'll start with the proclamation for former County Commissioner Helene Zach, and I'll turn that over to Commissioner Joe Rozelle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to give this or read this proclamation to our former County Commissioner and my friend Helene Zach. And the proclamation reads, whereas Helene Zach has served the city of Huntington Woods with great distinction as our County Commissioner since 2002, and the city would hereby like to recognize her efforts on behalf of all residents of our city. And whereas Helene with her husband Andy moved into Huntington Woods in 1980 and have lived in 3 different homes in the woods. And whereas Helene has a Bachelor of Arts and a master's degree in social work from the University of Michigan, and together with her background as a social worker, led projects that improved the lives of Oakland County residents, including jail overcrowding, the Silver Tsunami Report in 2010, elevating senior issues, the Area Agency on Aging, and championing mental health issues. And whereas Helene has always been available to help elected officials, city staff, and residents on anything Oakland County related, and has regularly attended city commission meetings over the last 18 years to keep us informed on Oakland County programs and services. And whereas Helene has been recognized for her achievements by Easter Seals Disability Services in 2007 with the Outstanding Advocate Award, awarded a Taubman Scholarship to the Harvard Kennedy School of Government in 2015, and the Volunteer Service Award from the Area Agency on Aging 1B in 2019. In addition, Oakland County named a drain in Auburn Hills after her because of her passion regarding water and the environment through her time in public service. And whereas Helene will be continuing her service to Huntington Woods as the coordinator of the Adopt a Garden program. And whereas on this occasion, the city of Huntington Woods is recognizing Helene Zach's commitment and excellence to the community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that on behalf of the City Commission and all citizens of Huntington Woods, that we present Helene Zach with this proclamation, thanking her for the many years of unwavering service and dedication to our community, along with our best wishes for whatever adventures you decide to pursue in your post-elected life. Signed, Robert F. Paul, Mayor, City of Huntington Woods.
May I speak? First of all, I want to thank everybody. I'm truly honored and flattered that you are choosing to recognize me. And it has been such an amazing experience being a public servant, working with our community for 18 years. I gained a lot of joy. It's been amazing. Yet at the same time, I'm starting to enjoy my new adventure too. And so, started my gardening project this week, Adopt a Garden. So, but I truly thank all of you. And it's been just such an honor to work with you, to team with you, to make a difference in our community. So thank you.
You. Absolutely. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Jules Olsman has the next one.
I do. I have a proclamation honoring Robert Wittenberg. Whereas the Honorable Robert Wittenberg has served the cities of Huntington Woods, Berkeley, Oak Park, Pleasant Ridge, Ferndale, and Royal Oak Township with distinction as our state representative from his election 2014 through 2020. Whereas Robert Wittenberg served on several important policy committees in the House of Representatives, including tax policy, House financial reform, and the House Financial Services Committee. He was responsible and sponsored multiple bills that were signed into law and co-sponsored numerous other bills that were likewise signed into law. He was the founder and chair of both the Gun Violence Prevention Caucus and the Better Classroom Caucus. Whereas Robert Wittenberg has consistently demonstrated accessibility and accountability to the residents of his communities he served. He has always been willing and eager to engage with constituents to help him better understand their needs and concerns. He regularly interacted with school children and teachers to better enhance their appreciation of state government and its role in our lives. Whereas Robert Wittenberg earned a reputation for hard work and bipartisan cooperation in the legislature, despite working in a highly charged, to say the least, political environment, he chose to focus his efforts on and pursue public policy and legislation that would be beneficial to his constituents instead of engaging in unproductive partisan squabbles. As a legislator, he was well-liked and highly respected by his colleagues. Whereas Robert Wittenberg will now commence his continued service to our community as the newly elected Oakland County Treasurer, commencing this July. Whereas the Huntington Woods City Commission hereby acknowledges the exemplary service of Robert Wittenberg as our state representative. We congratulate him and his family, who are proud residents of Huntington Woods. We look forward to his capable representation and efforts on behalf of our residents and the people of Oakland County as a whole when he begins his new job as our county treasurer in a short amount of time.
Thank you. I guess I can speak now then, if you don't mind. Commissioner Olson.
Don't snatch defeat from the jaws. Defeat from the jaws.
I was gonna say I don't know what else I can add to that. I'm gonna hire you as a speechwriter. I think is.
Well, I wrote it, so call the library and tell them to put it in the fiction section.
Right, exactly. Well, I really appreciate the kind words. The only thing you missed there is that Hazel Park is part of the 27th House District. So that was the only thing. But you're not perfect, but you're still an amazing city commissioner, Mr. Olson. But yeah, I want to thank you all, and just quickly also want to thank Helene Zach, who did a phenomenal job. And I tell this story, and everyone that's here on video has probably heard the story. But I've known Helene since I was, you can't see how young I was. Well, friends with her daughter, and have known her since I was in kindergarten, growing up here in Huntington Woods, going to Burton Elementary School and Norup and Berkeley High School. And so can't thank her enough. She's been a mentor to me and always been there to help and support me. So congratulate her and thank her for her service as well. And thank all of you here, and then all the residents. It was a lot of fun. It was challenging, that's for sure, at times, especially working in Lansing during these really polarizing, hyper-partisan times. But you know, I went there knowing that what was important to me was being a good representative of everyone here in the 27th district here in Huntington Woods and the other communities. I truly am a people person. I love helping people. And so some of my favorite things were all the different constituent services, hosting community conversations, as Commissioner Olsman alluded to, reading to students every year and speaking to students during March's Reading Month and throughout the year. Just really doing everything I can to be a voice for people in Lansing and help them navigate state government. So it really was an honor. 6 years went by in a flash. I can't believe it went by so fast. But I look forward to my next endeavor as treasurer starting July 1st. And I will see you all around town and look forward to continuing to serve. So thank you so much for this proclamation. It really does mean a lot to me.
Thank you. Next up, Commissioner Jeff Jenks.
I have a proclamation of the City of Huntington Woods recognizing the month of May 2021 as Older Americans Month. Before I begin that, I just wanted to point out some statistics. Seniors in the community 55 and older represent almost 32% of the population. If you go to 60 plus, 1 in 4 residents and nearly 1 in 2 residents that are adults is a senior in the city. And now let me read the resolution. Whereas the city of Huntington Woods includes 1,792 citizens age 60 and older, and whereas the city of Huntington Woods is committed to helping all individuals maintain their health and independence in later life, and whereas the older adults in the city of Huntington Woods have an important role in sharing knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the history of our community through interaction with children, youth, and adults from other generations. And whereas the fruits of knowledge and experience can be effectively transferred from generation to generation through meaningful social interactions. And whereas their interactions with family, friends, and neighbors across generations enrich the lives of everyone involved. And whereas our community can provide opportunities to enrich citizens young and old by emphasizing the value of including elders in public life and family life, creating opportunities for older Americans to interact with people of different generations, providing services, technologies, and support systems that allow older adults to participate in social activities in the community. Now, therefore, we, the city of Huntington Woods, do hereby proclaim May 2021 to be Older Americans Month. We urge every citizen to take time this month to engage with our older citizens through enjoyable social interactions such as sports, games, contests, and other forms of play. Proclaimed at the regular city commission meeting of April 6, 2021, Robert F. Paul III, Mayor of Huntington Woods.
Thank you, Commissioner. And at this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Lenny Newman, the Chair of our Senior Advisory Committee, for a special invitation. Lenny, you have to unmute yourself. No, there you go.
There you go.
Great. I'd like to thank you, Mayor and City Commissioners, for this proclamation. We're real proud of this. It should be a beginning of a great new history in our town. And on behalf of the committee, I wanted to invite all of you to one of our 4 special activities for May for Older American Month. And that would be a reception with city leaders and city department heads, and hopefully all you guys with a lot of our senior citizens for a little meet and greet at the pavilion near City Hall. And that's going to be on Tuesday, the 18th from 6 to 7 o'clock. We hope to see you there. And the week before that, we have a senior musical variety show that will be right near City Hall by the gazebo. And we also have a senior artistic salon, which will feature some artists who actually do a drawing, kind of how you draw someone, along with a very wonderful man who plays the jazz piano. And we're going to enjoy his music and hear about their experiences as artists and making art for seniors. And lastly, we're hoping that we get a bunch of people together to meet us to go to the Berkeley High School play Mamma Mia. And before that, we're going to meet at the restaurant over on Coolidge. There's some really nice, fun things, and we're looking forward to meeting all of you at our meet and greet. Thank you so much for the time. Look forward to seeing you. Happy May. Happy Senior Citizens Month.
Thank you, Lenny. Thanks for all your service to our community as well. Okay, moving on to our fourth proclamation. Commissioner Elder, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity to help with this proclamation. My proclamation tonight is the proclamation in support of the Asian American community. Whereas Huntington Woods has 2% of our population identifying as a part of the Asian American community, a group that has contributed and continues to contribute to our country's progress, culture, and success. And whereas beginning in 2020, there has been a documented regional and nationwide trend of increased discrimination, hate, and violence against people of Asian heritage, from young adults to our most vulnerable elderly, and especially Asian women, exacerbated by false narratives and xenophobia around the coronavirus. And whereas these ongoing and reprehensible displays of hate have often gone unnoticed and unreported, perpetuating a model minority myth that Asians will be complacent and stay silent, even when targeted and harmed. And whereas hate, violence, and bias are not accepted in our community, especially when targeting or scapegoating individuals based on their race or identity. And whereas the City Commission remains committed to our vision of not just welcoming the world and recognizing diversity as a key strength for the city and our character, but we are a city where we strive to foster a community where everyone has a deep sense of belonging. And whereas each of us has a personal responsibility to prevent the spread of misinformation, condemn violent acts in any form, support all fellow community members, and reject stigma, hate, and bias in all its forms. And whereas there is an urgent need for the community at large to unite and come together to support the Asian American community and report incidences of hate and bias, especially as we continue to recover together from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the city will continue its commitment and implementation of the anti-racism plan and promote opportunities to combat this virulent type of racism, intolerance, and xenophobia. Therefore, Robert Paul, Mayor of Huntington Woods, proclaims and will sign this proclamation, and on behalf of its City Commission, our renewed and ongoing commitment to be a more diverse and inclusive community, free from racism, so all who live, work, and visit Huntington Woods feel welcomed. Huntington Woods strongly stands against hate, bias, or violence based on race and ethnicity, nationality, gender, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religion. And I urge all residents to unite in solidarity with our Asian American neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on now to public participation. This is an opportunity for the public to address the City Commission on an item that is not on the agenda. If you're interested in making a comment, please hit *9 so that that will raise your hand and you can be recognized.
Okay, we have two callers with their hands raised. So we will start with 0138. Press *6 on your keypad to unmute, and then say your name and address for the record. Go ahead, 0138.
Is that 0638, Brian?
I see 248 and then 0138 as the last four numbers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll give you a moment here. Oh, almost had it. 0138, press *6 to unmute. Looks like you're unmuted. Go ahead. Okay, well, let's move on to 2334. Press *6 on your handset to unmute and say your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Mary Maslin Cooper, and I live at 13122 Talbot. And I'm very glad. First off, I love all the proclamations. I'm so glad that I was here to listen to them and totally agree on all points. And congratulations to Helene and Robert, and really appreciate all of your hard work. I'm just addressing the City Commission as a beekeeper. I am very happy that the city has decided to review the ordinance in a more public fashion. Huntington Woods has had beekeepers in its community for over 120 years, and we are really fortunate to have a large group of beekeepers and knowledgeable beekeepers, including a beekeeper that holds a master's degree in beekeeping from Cornell University. I was very concerned when I read the original ordinance or proposed ordinance, because it is an old way of thinking regarding urban beekeeping. It is no longer supported, and the city that originally wrote it, which was Ypsilanti, has since changed their view about that and has become a nationally recognized bee city. I would love that Huntington Woods would look more closely to why our residents are concerned about beekeeping. Last year, we had a huge influx of yellow jacket hornets that closely resembled bees. In fact, I myself lost one of my beehives to these hornets, and I had a hard time distinguishing them from my drones. I think that perhaps residents who are fearful about honeybees may be mistaking them for hornets. However, having an ordinance itself is not a bad idea. I love the idea of registering so that people know where the bees are. And I would encourage beekeepers in the community to do the voluntary registration with the state of Michigan that is helping study hive collapse and beekeeping in urban areas. But thank you very much for bringing this up, and I just wanted to, express my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Okay, you want to try again? 0138. Your hand is raised, and it looks like you're unmuted.
This is Gail Linden, 25840 Concord Road. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed the meeting so far and the proclamations. I'm appealing to the city commissioners, the city management, and the city employees to work with the residents and the planning commission to please get more information about the upcoming update to the master plan. There is nothing on the signage in the city. There's nothing on the homepage for Huntington Woods website about the master plan. I will say that there was a video that was watched by 124 people, which is a good amount of people, but there's a lot of work ahead of the community and the planning commission and the commissioners, and I think that we need to be proactive and let this information be known earlier rather than just saying there's a meeting or it's on the agenda. And I ask that you look at that. I've been following along since I serve on the Planning Commission and I'm charged with that duty. I've been following along with Berkeley, who's also updating theirs. And, I've brought it to Amy's attention that they are quite proactive in letting the information be known in advance. And I'd like to see Huntington Woods do the same.
Okay, thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments?
We still have a few callers. If anyone would like to make a comment, press *9 on your keypad to raise your hand. We have no hands raised at the moment. We'll give it a second here.
Okay, while we're waiting, I do have one letter that was submitted to the city and asked that it be read into the minutes. That is from Aaron Reddish of 25447 Wareham. His letter reads, I urge the city not to support the new restrictions on beekeeping. They are, simply put, overly regulatory and not in line with ordinances in neighboring communities. More people are keeping bees in Michigan because they understand that helping an endangered bee population is important for the environment. Other cities have either encouraged beekeeping or used common sense, streamlined language in their ordinances on pets or nuisances to regulatory aggressive stinging bees. One of my basic questions is how many complaints has the city received about bees, and can they be linked to maintained hives? That is there in fact a problem with bees or a fear of bees that can be addressed with education and communication? I would suggest that the city require neighbors to sign the consent form and set the rest of the ordinance aside for now. Imposing annual inspections and a $180 fee puts an undue burden on the city and residents alike and will kill beekeeping in the city. There's also one here. Does Huntington Woods want to be seen as the only city in the area that constricts environmentally progressive practices like beekeeping? I write this as someone who does not have bees and has no desire to keep bees, but I do recognize the importance of putting sustainability at the forefront. I would like to see the city engage in education, such as keeping a model beehive in a park or at City Hall and holding lectures on apiarism, rather than regulation of environmental sustainability. Once again, that was a comment submitted by Aaron Reddish.
No other hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, with that, public participation is closed. And we'll move on to the first item of business, which is a matter of receiving the city budget for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022. Our Finance Director, Tim Rowland, is at the meeting. Would you like to just give us a brief introduction and review of it?
Sure. What's on the agenda tonight is simply the receipt of the budget. We have a budget study session planned for April 20th, where we'll present it in detail and go over all the details of the budget. Then also on May 18th, we're going to have a public hearing where we'll be able to receive comment from the public on the budget before it's approved.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to receive the budget?
Mr. Mayor, I move to receive the city budget for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30, 2022.
Seconded.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the public?
If any of the callers would like to make a comment or ask a question, press *9 on your keypad. And no hands raised.
Any questions or comments from the commission? Then we'll have a roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Olsman.
Aye.
Commissioner Elder.
Aye.
Commissioner Roselle.
Aye.
Commissioner Jenks.
Aye.
Mayor Paul, aye. Motion carries. Item number 2 is a matter of setting the public hearing, which Tim mentioned, for the proposed 2021-2022 city budget.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we set a public hearing on May 18th, 2021 to receive the public comment on the 2021-2022 city budget.
Thank you. Okay, any comments from the public? Once again, hit *9 if you'd like to make a comment or raise your hand.
Okay, no hands raised.
And Mayor, just a reminder, you don't have to do a roll call vote anymore.
Okay.
All right.
All right, any comments or questions from the commission? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is an ordinance, a matter of consideration of an ordinance to amend the City of Huntington Woods Board and Commissions Division 6, the Senior Advisory Committee, to amend the powers and duties of the committee. This is the first reading of this ordinance. We have a motion
For the first reading to allow its free.
Correct.
So moved.
Seconded.
Amy, do you want to add anything?
There are 2 recommendations from the Senior Advisory Committee to the ordinance that sets the powers and duties of the committee. One is to include language that they should also be studying how to enable seniors to age in place, and also consider additional related issues based on changing needs and circumstances. Because this committee was put together via an ordinance, we do need an ordinance amendment in order to change their powers and duties to reflect the committee's recommendations.
Okay. Are there any comments from the public?
Press star 9 on your keypad to raise your hand. No hands raised.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I don't understand this. First of all, the work of the Senior Advisory Committee has been very helpful to the city for the past several years since its inception. And I fully support the committee in all of its activities and their recommendations. But I don't get what these changes to the ordinance provide that aren't already in there. In other words, subsection 2 of the section of section 1 says studying the need for and feasibility of senior housing options in the city. And then 3 says making recommendations regarding senior services, including those that enable seniors to age in place. I ask these questions only because I'm not opposed to constructive changes to ordinances, but I'm quizzical about the need to put in language that doesn't appear to mean anything. In other words, they already have that authority. That falls under the umbrella of the senior services and senior housing options, excuse me. So I just don't see it as necessary. Again, it's not intended as a hostile criticism, but just like I'm a strong advocate of fixing ordinances when they're broken. I'm not, or perceived to have problems. I'm not an advocate of adding language that doesn't appear, in my judgment, to do anything. Thank you.
I can respond to that. I think senior services has different interpretations for different individuals, and for some it may involve like transportation services or services, health services through the recreation department. Aging in place is specific to how we can help seniors remain in the home. So I think we're just adding kind of a finer point on senior services is more than just what the recreation department can provide or the city can provide, but how do we help seniors remain in their homes. Lenny, is that an accurate description of the discussion the committee had?
But that's something you already have. Isn't it something that's already here, Lenny? Can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm pushing on mute, but
there you go.
You're fine.
it doesn't read that way to me. And it didn't read that way to our committee. And aging in place is really a separate concept from senior housing per se. Aging in place and being able to remain in the city of Huntington Woods is one of the things we want to advocate for and help people achieve as they get older. And so it doesn't seem to be addressed in our directives as a committee, and we were hoping to do that.
Mhm.
Any other comments?
Yeah, it would seem to me that very often planning drives a lot of the operations. And I think what this does is clarify that the senior committee has a function in the discussion. One of the things I'm concerned about, and it may not even be an issue, is 30% of the population 65 and older are seniors, and virtually 30% are 19 and under. Seniors represent almost half the adult population. We're talking, and we just approved diversity, equity, and inclusion. I would like to see an additional line in the ordinance which says that at least 3 members of the Senior Advisory Committee will be at least 60 or older. Just so we start dealing with making sure that seniors have a voice on senior programming.
I don't even know if that would be lawful. Carol?
I frankly don't know why you would do it, just because oftentimes it's hard to find people to serve on committees, and really sometimes the older you get, the harder it is for you to do that. So you may, restrict and people that are really want to be active in this. So
the last study that was done on what seniors wanted, only 17% of the people that had been interviewed were seniors. So the desires of seniors on a major study was actually determined by people that have never been seniors. I'm assuming that you have some numbers as it relates to the diversity committee that's being created, or will it just be anybody in the community?
Well, my question is, I don't know that you can dictate the age of committee members or set a floor like that. That's my only, I'm not sure hold on. I'm not sure that it's lawful. That's number one. And number two, a lot of what goes on Lenny's committee, and Lenny will recall that Joe and I were the ones that conscripted you a number of years ago. We recognized the talent when we saw it, and we invited you, shall we say, persuasively to do this, and your work has been exemplary. But I think, and as one of those people that falls into the category here, plus as somebody who has more than his fair share knowledge about long-term care and assisted living, independent living, and the whole industry that's out there, I think that what's more important to look at the qualifications and knowledge base of people who are going to participate. You may have a PhD candidate in geriatric lifestyle or whatever, who is in his or her 30s, who is far more knowledgeable on data and information. Just because somebody's 65, I'm a perfect example. Like my kids would say, what do I know? So I don't think that the saying we're going to have 3 people that are going to be seniors. I think we want 3 people that know what they're talking about serving on the committee. And I would, if they're seniors, great. If they're not seniors, like Carol says, what if nobody applies? What are you gonna do? Go out and say to people, you have to, I don't think you wanna box anything in. I personally think it's a bad idea.
Mr. Mayor, these are minor changes. I don't see any issue with it. I recognize there is a difference with aging in place, different than housing, and even thought of in different terms as like a program or a service. I think that, aging in place is distinct from that. So these are minor, and I don't have an issue supporting this as it's been presented to us.
No, I don't have any issue with it as presented. I have an issue with the suggestion about the age business of the people who serve.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with Commissioner Roselle on the changes that have been proposed. I think there is a lot of needs with aging in place, whether it's health related or lifestyle or mobility or accessibility, communications, lots of things. And I also agree with Commissioner Olsman about restricting age for serving on a city committee. And I just want to clarify for the public, it's an anti-racism committee. We do not, we're trying to get people to serve on this new committee to support the anti-racism work that we've committed to. And there's only actually 5 spots available on this committee. And I think having people qualified through their professional background or lived experiences, that's what we're looking for. And I think putting age restrictions is quite exclusive. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. All those in favor?
Bob, Lenny had his hand up.
Go ahead, Lenny.
Am I muted or?
No,
No, you're
you're good.
speaking.
Okay, just for your information, we have a wonderful mix of people on our senior advisory committee. There are 6 of us. Some of us are older, some of us are younger, but everyone has got some serious experience they bring to a great set of values, and we have a great mix. And I think it's inherent in the way our city works that we always seem to have a good mix. We seem to do that. I'm not sure we have to itemize people. I think it's working great.
Okay. Thank you, Lenny. All right. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 5. It's a matter of consideration of a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. This is a matter of accepting a proposal from Voller Consulting at a cost not to exceed $22,000. We have a motion.
So move. Support.
Any public comment?
Again, if any of the callers would like to make a comment, press *9 on your keypad to raise your hand, and then we will call on you. *9.
Amy, I just have one question while you're waiting for that. Will there be a contract that goes along with this?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
No hands raised.
Okay, any comments or questions from the commission?
Mayor, having taken part in the interviews, I agree with the staff's recommendation. We did receive, a number of bids. I think this one, the price was fair for the scope of work. And I think that, based on comments made during the interview and questions that we had, this firm seemed to understand the scope of what we were looking for and seemed very qualified. So I'm very supportive of staff's recommendation for the selection of this particular firm. And, I look forward to the important work that they'll be doing and presenting back to the commission. Thank
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I was pleased with the fact that they seem to understand the various groups in the city, and they defined to us a number of focus groups that they would reach out to. I think we will get a very, very good, comprehensive report back with a excellent plan. And they also offered additionally in the future, if we liked what they were doing, to give us additional components.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to say I see this plan work as essential to the work we are doing as a city. As we prepare for the master plan, I know there was a public comment earlier about what's going on with the master plan. And this is a critical part of it. We've not done this before as a city, but I think it is really important that we have opportunities to hear from our residents, to get data, to get feedback on where we see ourselves in this lens of diversity, equity, inclusion, and where can we move forward as a community, not with just diversity in age and race, but also looking at gender identity, disabilities. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I think this is really important work. I too felt that the proposal was fair in pricing, and the experience that this particular proposal brings the individuals working on it, I think is really important to recognize that these are professionals in their field. And in particular, one of the consultants working on this has had experience in working with local governments. And I think that is what, for me, set apart this proposal from many of the others.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is a matter of consideration to change the name of the Environmental Advisory Committee to the Environmental Sustainability Committee. You have a motion to accept this?
So moved.
Support.
Anything more we need to add, Amy?
I have unfortunately missed the conversation with the name change. So Mary Cooper has joined us in case you had any specific questions about the change. Although I did outline in my memo that the committee wants to broaden their scope of work to include promoting long-term change to improve the environment and the way the community thinks about it. So with a lens on sustainability, long-term initiatives, rather than advisory, more short-term view.
Okay. Are there any comments from the public? Once again, hit *9 to raise your hand and you'll be recognized.
No hands raised at the moment.
Okay, we must have covered it okay. Mary's happy. Any comments or questions from the commission? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mary.
Item number 7 is a matter of consideration to extend the right-of-way telecommunication permit to MCI Metro Access Transmission Services LLC for 5 years. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We don't have a whole lot of choice here under state law. We are pretty much regulated to respond to this within so many days. And is there any other comments or questions from the residents? *9 to raise your hand so we can recognize you.
No hands raised.
Okay, seeing none, any comments or questions from the commission?
I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. This item brought to you this evening by the powerful lobbying efforts of AT&T and others in our state legislature. And so we now are forced to do these types of things with little or no ability to have enforcement or collect, various fees for the use of our right of way. So it was bad legislation then, it's still bad legislation now, but we're bound by state law basically to approve this. So I'll be supporting it this evening. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make
Hold on just a moment, Commissioner Jenks.
Yeah, we really have no choice in approving or not approving this. But as I travel through Oak Park, I see that virtually all the material as it relates to telecommunications is usually about 10, 15 feet above the street level. I would like our city staff to explore with Oak Park how they're able to achieve that. Right now, we see boxes on the ground in major public places, every single telephone pole packed with them. When I was growing up, they were about 20 feet up, and it used to be fun to watch the linemen do that. Now it's an entirely different thing. It's part of the aesthetics of the city. So although I will be voting for this, I ask the city really to talk to Oak Park and find out how they get most of this stuff done 15, 20 feet, and it's out of visual sight. Or it's not when you look all over. And I don't see boxes on lawns all over the place.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8 is a matter of a consideration of the approval of the April 2021 update to the personnel manual. Amy, do you want to comment on that?
Sure, I do an annual review of the personnel manual to make sure that it conforms with labor law and also to make any changes that we've made along the way. 2 minor changes to make this year. One is that personal days for new employees will be prorated, and also add to the manual that vacation time for new employees can be adjusted based on years of service of prior work experience. For instance, if you're bringing in a department head with 10 years of experience, you wouldn't want to start them out with the vacation time of a new hire. So those are the only 2 adjustments being made to the personnel manual this year.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the April 2021 update to the city's personnel manual.
Seconded.
Any comments from the public?
*9 on your keypad to make a comment. No hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I have one. So do employees earn vacation time like as an accrual each pay, or do they get it as a lump sum at the beginning of the year?
They get it at the lump sum after having worked a year, then the vacation days go in their bank. So, and then it would be prorated. So an employee that started in July would earn half the amount of vacation time, would be put in their bank on January 1st. And then they have 1 year to use that vacation time.
And so this isn't prior city service. This is prior service really with any prior employer that could be considered. And would this be time that's front loaded into their bank when they start, or would it be after the completion of the year, then they would be considered like an employee who has 10 years of service? Do you accrue based on years of service, or do you accrue just everybody gets the same amount of vacation time?
Everybody gets the same amount of vacation time based on their years of service. And whether they get it front loaded or on January 1st would be up to negotiation with the department heads. Like for instance, when we brought Andrew in, our public safety director, he got some vacation time up front because of his years of experience. So it'll be on a case by case basis, but this gives me the option to entice people to come work for us that have the experience that we're looking for and not treating them like a new hire.
Okay. Thank you.
And you have use it or lose it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to our city manager's report.
Yes, I have some information from the Recreation Department. They wanted me to let you know that the Hometown Herald is online on our website, and it's going to be delivered to mailboxes shortly. Pool information is in the newsletter. In fact, pool passes can be purchased starting tomorrow, and also program registration for summer recreation classes start tomorrow as well. So get up in the morning and go to our website, hwmi.org, take a look at the newsletter and sign up for the items that interest you. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions of the city manager? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn the regular city commission meeting?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for joining us this evening.
All right. Good evening.
Night,
Stay
everyone.
safe, stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.